Hi everyone, welcome back to Scented Moments channel. I'm Guerlain. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all safe. And guys, once again, I already uploaded on my community tab that we just reached the 10,000 subscriber milestone. Man, I am so excited. I'm so happy to see this channel grow with so many wonderful people out there. And thank you so much, guys, once again for your ongoing support. And well, because of that, I want to talk about 10 fragrances that YouTube influenced me to purchase, to try them, to experience them. And I will also mention the YouTubers that actually they influenced me to experience and to try these fragrances. And of course, this will not be in a specific order, and not all of them are from a specific YouTuber. Some of them had huge hype back then. And as for me, I joined this fragrance community back in 2016, in the summer of 2016. So it's not that I am an OG, I'm far from it, but it's already been some years now. So the first fragrance that I have here, actually it's from house of Frederic Malle, and this is a fairly recent acquisition. I mean, I purchased this one like 3 months ago, max. 2 months ago, and it is Musc Ravageur. So Musc Ravageur, I mean, when we are talking about Frederic Malle, for me, we are talking about Eugene from You Smells Good. He has all fragrances from this brand, from Frederic Malle. He loves this brand. It's one of his favorite, if not his favorite, at least niche fragrance brand, and he loves this one. He's also always talking about this, just like all other Frederic Malle fragrances. And I have to say, this is wonderful. This is one of the best fragrances that I experienced. This kind of resembles to Shalimar from Guerlain, but I mean, it's more that you can see the inspiration. This Musc Ravageur, Maurice Roussel, which is the nose behind this fragrance, he took the inspiration of Shalimar with that animalic oriental vanilla. He grabbed that DNA and made it into its own fragrance. It's stunning. It's animalic, but I think it's not as animalic as it once was, because I remember when I first tried Musc Ravageur back in 2017 at Lithuania, Vilnius. When I tried it, it was so pissy in the opening, so funky, very animalic. I was very off. That for me was not love at first sniff, but then again, I was just starting to dive into niche perfumery, so I think it was a big shock right then. But now that I have this, I feel that the opening, at least, it's a bit different from what I remember. Nonetheless, it's still animalic, yes, but it's more cozy, it's more edible. It's like a gourmand animalic fragrance. You have the vanilla, you have the animalic nuances, the musk, definitely, it's the most prominent known, and it's this animalic, furry, texturized musk, if that makes sense. This is a stunning scent nonetheless, very long lasting, and it's very cozy, very warm, very sexy in my opinion. Absolutely love this one. And it was Eugene from You Smells Good who influenced me to not only to purchase this one, but also to experience and to try this fragrance house Frederic Malle, which has masterpieces all the way through. So the first one is Musc Ravageur from Frederic Malle. The next fragrance that I have here, this is a designer. It's from the house of Cartier, and actually this was my first Cartier fragrance, and the YouTuber that influenced me to purchase this fragrance was FragBoy Stewie. Now I think he's retired from the YouTube reviewing, but he made me purchase this one, Cartier Declaration d'un Soir. He was always raving about this fragrance, how sexy, sensual this was, that this was one of his most complimented fragrances. I mean, you know, when we are starting to discover the fragrance community, we just want to know the YouTubers' favorite fragrances, the most long-lasting, that pulls more attention. This one was one of his all-time favorites. I blind bought this one actually, and although back then it was in maybe by the end of 2016, early 2017, I remembered that I liked it, but I was expecting something different. I was expecting something more warm and sweet. This one, it's not warm nor sweet. This is all about rose and spices. This is an outstanding rose. This is one of the best designer rose fragrances out there. A fantastic creation here. But back then, I was not a huge fan of florals. I was not a huge fan of rose fragrances. This was what was my first rose fragrance, actually. And so it was, I mean, I enjoyed it. I wore it, but I was not in love. Then I ended up giving it away to my father, who loved it at the first spray, first impressions. But then I revisited this one, but it was last year or a couple of years ago, and man, I fell in love with this fragrance. Taste changed, taste develops, and when you after some years, when you already discovered a lot of fragrances, when you already tried a lot of fragrances from designer, niche, indie, you name it, I mean, your taste definitely changes. And this one I needed to repurchase, and all in all, I just know this because of FragBoy Stewie, and this is a fantastic scent, a spicy, sparkly, yet romantic rose, very elegant, very sophisticated. Absolutely love this one. Perfect for date night scenarios, great performance, at least on my skin. I love this one. It's a Cartier Declaration d'un Soir. The next fragrance that I have here is from House of Gucci, and this fragrance, it's so good, so unique, and it's hard to see how Gucci was so avant-garde in terms of perfumes. And nowadays, I mean, I think nowadays they are starting to come up with very unique fragrances actually, but you have that gap of 8 years that Gucci fragrances were forgettable. But this one, it's definitely not the case. It is Gucci pour Homme de. This fragrance is so good, sadly discontinued, although I think this was released by the end of 2000s. I think it was 2008 or 9, something in that time lapse. But this one, it's so good. This is all about tea. This is all about spices. Oh man, this so smooth, has a natural feeling in here. It's cinnamon, you have black tea, you have cardamom, pepper. It has a resinous nuance in here, like benzoin. It's sweet, not overly sweet. It's warm, it's spicy, it's cozy. It's wonderful, long lasting, at least on my skin. People back then, when this was readily available, people were complaining about performance, but actually on my skin this always lasted the entire day. And the projection was good for the first hour, then it was more of a skin scent, but as a skin scent this actually lasted a long time. Nowadays it's very hard to come by with this one. This is discontinued for a long time, but when I discovered the fragrance community in 2016, this was still readily available in the online discounters. I purchased this one at Notino, and it was like in 2017 if I'm not mistaken. And the YouTuber who was always raving about this fragrance was Manny from Cascade Scents. Absolutely love his channel. I think he's very unique. He has a unique content, and I love the way he describes fragrances, and I just love his content. And he is the one who made me buy this. He was always raving about this one. I think it is to this day one of his most favorite fragrances. I think he has lots of backup bottles of Gucci pour Homme, so it's thanks to Manny that I have this one. This was a blind buy and it was a success. One of my favorite tea fragrances, and this is the reason why I love tea fragrances, is Gucci pour Homme 2. The next fragrance that I have here is from the house of Mugler, and this one was my first blind buy in January of 2017, and it is Pure Malt. This one right here, man, I love this one. I love the bottle presentation. A lot of people complain about the spray here, but actually I never had any issues with the spray. This is one of the best boozy fragrances out there, if not the best boozy designer fragrance out there. This is all about whiskey, dried fruits, and patchouli. What an outstanding scent it is. Very realistic, and it's simply done to perfection. It's not overly sweet, it's not overly sticky. The booziness in here, the whiskey here is done so well. Definitely one of the best Mugler fragrances, this one and Pure Yvonne, but this one was a blind buy, and actually there isn't a specific YouTuber who made me buy this. Actually, this was very hyped back then. A lot of people were talking about Pure Malt, so I ended up purchasing a full bottle blindly, and so happy that I did. So good. One of my favorite, all-time favorite boozy fragrances is this one, and it's one of my favorite Mugler fragrances aside with Pure Yvonne. So Pure Malt from Mugler, it's an outstanding boozy fragrance. Next fragrance that I have here is from house of Bentley, and it is Bentley For Men Intense. I mean, I think this fragrance is very well known. I'm guessing that the majority of you who is watching this video already knows about this fragrance. Again, there isn't a specific YouTuber who influenced me to purchase this one. I mean, there was a time when this was so much hype. There was so much hype surrounding this fragrance, and this was always on the top 10 most affordable cheap fragrances that smell of high quality, cheap fragrances that have niche quality. I mean, you know how it works. And so everyone was talking about this one, and so another blind buy and a success. Oh man, this is so good. Often compared with Olfactive Studio Chambre Noire, which I can see the similarity, but in Chambre Noire you have the plum, that sweet fruitiness that this one doesn't have. This one I feel it's even more masculine than Chambre Noire. This is of course all about rum, leather, woods, spices. It's peppery, boozy, leathery, woodsy. It's wonderful. Not for everyone. A lot of people also don't enjoy this fragrance because it's overly mature, because it smells off, and I mean, there's no right and wrong on this hobby, so it all depends on your taste and what you get of a specific fragrance. For me, I love this type of fragrances, this boozy, leathery, woodsy fragrances. I absolutely love this category of fragrances, so this for me is a safe blind buy. Let's say it was a safe blind buy, and performance is incredible, and it's again very gentlemanly, very masculine, manly, and it's a formal scent. I don't see this as a versatile day by day office type of scent, not at all. I think this is more for specific occasions, more special events, but nonetheless, I think this is fantastic, high quality for the price, definitely. And again, I love the bottle presentation. I think the brand who does the bottle presentations is Lalique, so quality on the presentation is guaranteed. So again, Bentley For Men Intense, it's wonderful. I absolutely love this one. The next fragrance that I have here is from House of Guerlain, and I have here just one fragrance from Guerlain, but actually I could have mentioned all of Guerlain fragrances because there is one YouTuber who made me explore and experience Guerlain fragrances. But for the sake of this video, I will just mention this one, which is Mitsouko Eau de Parfum. One of the best, if not the best, Chypre fragrance out there. This is a classic. You have a lot of fragrances inspired by this fragrance. One of them is from Rojadov, and it is the Agalev. This one is outstanding and it's wonderful. And you have the peach, you have the oak moss, you have the floral nuances. I mean, this is complex, but it's magical. It's absolutely stunning. It's very sophisticated, and although this can, I think it's marketed towards women. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but even by the look of the presentation, you might find this more feminine, or at least you will think that this is more of a feminine fragrance. Not at all. I think this is perfectly unisex. If not even masculine. On my skin, I get more this mossy, woody undertones, but if you love Chypre fragrances, I think this is a must try at least. Shalimar Mitsouko Eau de Parfum from Guerlain, it's fantastic. And of course, the YouTuber who made me explore Guerlain is again Eugene from You Smells Good. It's thanks to him that I have a massive collection of Guerlain. That Guerlain is my favorite fragrance brand. I absolutely love their creations. They have everything from the Les Absolus d'Orient, from the L'Art et la Matière, from the Heritage Collection, Mitsouko, Shalimar, Habit Rouge, Heritage, I mean, you name it. Tons of classics, tons of masterpieces from Guerlain that are timeless. This is one of them, Mitsouko Eau de Parfum. I highly advise you to try this one if you have yet to. It's a stunning Chypre fragrance. Now the next fragrance I have here is from the House of Tom Ford from the Private Blend collection, and it is Oudh Wood. Oudh Wood, stunning. I think, although Tobacco Vanille, I have a very strong bond, let's say, with Tobacco Vanille, because Tobacco Vanille is the fragrance that made me discover niche perfumery. Although Private Blend, it's not from Tom Ford, it's not technically niche, but still. Tobacco Vanille is the reason why I started to discover niche. But this one was my first private blend, my full bottle of Tom Ford's Private Blend collection. And it was at duty free at Lisbon airport. And there again, there isn't a specific YouTuber because this back in 2017, 2018, I mean, this was hyped to the max, has one of the best formal fragrances, one of the best elegant wood fragrance out there. So everyone was raving about this one, and I completely agree in terms of elegance, in terms of sophistication. This fragrance is to die for. In terms of wood or oud, I would not consider this as one of the best oud fragrances. I don't get that real resinous, dark, enveloping oud. This is more of a dark woodsy undertone, which is fun, which smells incredible. Still, I think there are better oud fragrances out there, real oud fragrances out there. Nonetheless, this one is a classic already. Released, I think it was in 2007. I think it was when this was released with Tobacco Vanille, with Japon Noir. I mean, this is part of the originals of Tom Ford's Private Blend, so this set a mark, let's say. This was groundbreaking when it was first released. This definitely created a trend in the westernized oud category. So Oudh Wood still smells incredible, very sensual, very elegant, and very addictive actually. Good performance. A lot of people complain about performance with this one, but I mean, I don't have any complaints whatsoever. Is Tom Ford Oud Wood. Fantastic. Talking about Oud, the next fragrance that I have here is from House of Rasasi, from their more exclusive line, more expensive line, and it is Rasasi Asrar al Boruzz, Indonesia. Now, I don't know if it's how you pronounce it, but this fragrance is stunning, like the presentation itself. The YouTuber who made me blind by this one was Nikhil from Exotic Scents. I don't know if it's still the name of his YouTube channel, because once in a while he's changing his YouTube channel's name, but I think it's still Exotic Scents. Nikhil, it's one of the best YouTubers out there. And this fragrance is so good. He knows everything about oud. He knows everything about perfume. I absolutely love the way he describes the perfumes, the way he articulates his speech, the way that he experiences the perfume itself. I mean, his reviews are a journey, and I absolutely love that. This fragrance is also a journey. I mean, it's very complex and unique. You have bergamot, you have ginger, you have black tea, you have oud, and the oud here smells natural, and it's to die. It has that funky nuance right from the opening, but then starts to blend in with the ginger, with the tea, with the bergamot, and the end result is this summery, fresh oud, natural oud. At least smells natural, and it's one of the best oud fragrances that I have. So good, so good, so unique. I never smelled anything like this before. I highly advise you to try this one if you can. If you love oud, I think this is a safe blind buy. And I don't say this often. It is from Rasasi, is Asrar al Boruzz, Indonesia. Now the next fragrance that I have here is from the House of Amouage, and this is the most well-known fragrance from Amouage, and it is Reflection Man. And you can see how much I already wore this. This is very versatile, very elegant, very sophisticated, and it's very easygoing because it has this mass appeal feel, if that makes sense. This has jasmine, this has neroli, has sandalwood, has an underlying sweetness in here, so it's floral. It's fresh, powdery, woodsy, a bit sweet, not overly. And it's done to perfection. And the YouTuber who made me buy this was actually Jeremy Fragrance, who doesn't need any introduction, of course. Back then, when he was actually reviewing proper fragrances, when he still cared about niche perfumes, he was always raving about this one in terms of the best, most complimented niche fragrance was this one, and for him, he was describing this as the Dorian Gray of the fragrance niche perfumes, something in that line. And so that's why I ended up with a full bottle of Reflection Man, which I absolutely love. I mean, you can see right now. Very long lasting. A lot of people say that this shares similarities with Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Malle, the original. That's... I mean, I think I understand because of the sweetness in here, but I think they are still very different from each other. Le Malle is more sweet, more vanillic. Here the floral nuances are much more pronounced. The jasmine and neroli are much more pronounced here. The sandalwood as well in the base. I mean, I can understand in one side because of the sweetness, but still they are very different from each other. But that's just my opinion. I think this is a very classy and elegant, very sophisticated fragrance through and through. It's more of a mass appeal fragrance from Amouage. Doesn't have the heavy oriental notes that typical Amouage fragrances have. And nowadays, I mean, Amouage, it's not releasing heavy oriental fragrances, so, and that's a concern that I have about the new direction that Amouage is taking. We will see. But nonetheless, this is fantastic, very well known, doesn't need any introduction, and it's one of the best from Amouage, definitely. And one of the most versatile as well is Reflection Man. And last but definitely not least, the last fragrance that YouTubers influenced me is from the house of Reminiscence, and it is Patchouli. And the YouTuber who influenced me to blind buy this fragrance was Sebastian from Smells, Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. And I absolutely love his channel. One of my favorite YouTubers, hands down. He has a massive collection. I mean, over 4,000 fragrances. And he loves his patchouli fragrances. I love patchouli also because of him. I started to dive into patchouli because of Sebastian, and this is one of my favorite patchoulis, and this is one of my favorite patchouli type of scents. This is earthy, this is chocolatey, this is cakey, it's dusty. I absolutely love this type of patchouli. It's full. This is all about patchouli. I mean, the name says everything. This is all about patchouli. Earthy, cakey, chocolatey, full patchouli. Wonderful, natural smelling fragrance, realistic. And this is a 100 ml, and I really love the bottle presentation. But this is quite affordable. I bought this at a website called Perfumes Club, and the 100 ml was 40 euros. It was between 40 to 42 euros for a brand new 100 ml bottle size like this. And this is, I think this is Eau de Parfum, no, this is Eau de Toilette. Nonetheless, good performance. It's in the 7 hours mark, so I mean, good longevity, good projection overall, because this is a very heavy fragrance in itself. So I think you don't need like an Eau de Parfum concentration of this one, because it's already quite heavy in the Eau de Toilette concentration. If you love patchouli, this is a must-have. You can easily blind buy. If you love Je Vois Psychedelic, if you love Profumum Broma Patchouli, which is actually my favorite patchouli. Actually, I already talked about my top 10 best patchouli fragrances, so feel free to check that video out if you have yet to. So if you love this type of full, earthy, cakey, chocolate, dusty patchouli, I think this is a safe blind buy as well. Patchouli from Reminiscence finishes this video. Guys, thank you so much once again for your ongoing support. Let's keep this channel grow organically, of course. Thank you so much for your ongoing support, and actually to celebrate this milestone, I want you to ask me, feel free to ask me anything, because I want to do a Q&A video. I never did one, and yeah, I think it's about time to do one, because I think it's quite funny. I already saw other YouTubers, not only from the fragrance community, but from other areas, to do a Q&A, and it's always hilarious, always fun to watch. So feel free to ask me anything if you want. I don't promise that I will answer to everything. I will select the questions, but still feel free to ask me anything. And guys, once again, thank you so much for your ongoing support. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.